Guys, welcome to episode number 64 of the Game On Girlfriend podcast. Today, I'm bringing you Nicole Saunders, a woman I met, full disclosure, through Clubhouse, which is one of my favorite places to hang out. And if you're not following me, my link's down below. Please go follow me. We have so much fun on Clubhouse. I am not somebody who's on there 24/7 because that's weird. You guys, we have lives. Don't get sucked in. But every once in a while, we can find an amazing group to go in and talk to and really get connected and learn about other people. And honestly, that is exactly what happened with Nicole and me. And I really enjoyed our conversation. And I think you will too. What I like about Nicole is she's like no fluff. She's like, I'm not here to make you feel better. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to help you with your business if that's what you choose. So a lot of people are like, Sarah, you bring on other business mentors? Hell yeah, I bring on other business mentors. Like, what if the bigger we all get, the bigger we all get, right? The more we lift each other, the more we all lift. And as I'm currently on my mission to blow up bro marketing and to blow up these 80,000 page sales pages and all of this garbage content that's out there from coaches. So sorry about that, by the way. While I'm on this mission to blow that up, I'm absolutely going to bring on more women who do what I do so you can get a feel for who we actually are so that you can start to tune out the garbage that's out there and actually pick stuff that resonates with you and that works with you, that makes you feel amazing so that you can get out there and do all of the hard work that's actually involved in running a successful, profitable business. This is not something you do with a ball of twine and, a paper clip and then make money while you sleep. I'm so sorry people are still selling that. It's really gross. Anywho, that brings me to this episode. Nicole is so cool. She's very down to earth and she will just tell it like it is. Now, we go a bit in this episode into Clubhouse and what we love about it. And the other thing I like about what Nicole offers, and there's a link down below for this, is she talks about how important it is to understand your own personality inside your business. And she dives into that into our conversation. And then we also talk about the power of community, which is, again, the opposite of this blowhorn marketing that you're seeing out there, where it's just like this vomitous thing that everybody's supposed to just consume without question, versus a small business and a community where people actually know who you are and they actually care about who you are and they actually know what your business is and you're not just a dollar sign to them, right? So Nicole and I talk about that and how we feel about that as business mentors and what we'd like to see for our growing communities in the future. So without further ado, I'm so happy to bring you Nicole. Pop in those earphones and let's get to it. Welcome to the Game On Girlfriend podcast. I'm so happy to have you on. I know we have a lot to talk about. I love how you're big on community, by the way. Totally forgot to tell you that while we were just chatting, but I love it. So excited about that. I want to jump right in with you, if that's all right with you.
Let's
you and
go.
We met on Clubhouse, right? So we got to talk about Clubhouse. Like, how do we not talk about this amazing new platform? And I hate social media. Everybody who knows me knows I hate it. And I love Clubhouse. So you talk a lot about how to use Clubhouse to the best of your ability and what to do on it. Can you talk to us a little bit about that, besides the fact that you and I met there, which we both love very much?
Yes. Yeah, I love Clubhouse. I have had to take a little bit of a break. I was getting a little on there, a little too much. It's addicting. So I think if you're getting on there and you're like overwhelmed by it, that's okay. Most people are. Take it slow, figure it out. Like, being an early adopter of something is really cool. Like, I know for me, like Facebook came out when I was in college and I didn't have a business. Instagram came out when I was in grad school. Twitter came out when I was in grad school. Like, had I been on those things, and I wasn't into TikTok because I was like, I'm kind of too old for that. But, now Clubhouse came out and I have a business and I was like, I can use this as a platform and I can really build a community over there. And I mean, since I took a break, I actually had someone on Monday. They're like, hey, are you okay? I noticed you haven't been on Clubhouse as much. And I was like, yes.
They called you out.
I know. It's funny because as an introvert, at first I was like, I don't want to be on here because I don't want to have to hear all these people talking and then do all the talking. But I really enjoy it. And so I think I had to back off a little bit because of my energy. But Yeah, it's like a live podcast meets a conference after hours at the bar. Like it's so good for networking. I love
Yeah.
it.
I mean, I've made connections like this, right? Which I just
Mhm.
love. But I think what makes it magical, as somebody who loves podcasts, obviously, is that you can really like hear people's tone. And I
Mhm.
think that that's what makes it so unique as opposed to like Twitter, Instagram, whatever. It's like people are just talking at you. You know what I mean? I love,
Yeah.
and I think, by the way, I think that's why stories are the most popular because people are just talking or they do a quick
Mhm.
thing. But the fact that you can actually talk back and actually
Yeah, yeah.
ask a question back, right? Like that is
Mhm.
so cool. I think it's going to continue to grow. I don't know. What are you seeing? Are there more people like you who are like, I'm an introvert. I need to turn off like, oh my gosh.
I haven't seen as much, but I feel like the people that I've interacted with, like they are gung ho, hard and fast into it. I have had a couple friends that have been a little slower on it, but I mean, the people that have been like going at it like crazy, they've exploded. Like I have friends that have like basically tripled their Instagram following because of Clubhouse. It's
Yeah.
just nuts.
It is. I like that the two are linked. And I like the way that they've done that in the bio. So you guys
Yes.
listening, if you haven't been on Clubhouse yet, or you don't have an iPhone, which I'm so sorry about that. That's so awful. Hopefully they'll fix that soon. But if you haven't jumped on yet, I really hope you do. We'll put Nicole's handle and my handle in the show notes too. So you guys can go check us out on Clubhouse. But I do love the intimacy of it. And I think the way that they've set up the bio, so you can literally say to people, listen, go follow me on Instagram, DM me, let's follow up with this, which is how Nicole and I got here today, right?
Mhm.
Like that's how that happened. And it really does make a difference. And I think it's bringing some of the warmth and deeper connection back into Instagram that I think so many people are missing right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I think the biggest thing for me is Instagram always shows you the people you interact with. So I've always seen the same circle of people. There are people like you and a bunch of others I've never even heard of until Clubhouse.
Yeah,
Like that to me is just
it's
like,
crazy, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, those algorithms are a little bit messed up. And I do think Clubhouse is kind of breaking that up a little bit. And
Mhm.
somebody actually asked me just the other day, Nicole, they were like, why? I don't want another social network. Like, oh dear God, please don't make me do this. Like, why Clubhouse?
Yeah.
And I said, it will introduce you to a whole bunch of people that there's no way you would ever meet otherwise. And it
Mhm.
really makes a difference.
And I mean, honestly, it's got to be good enough because now like Facebook is trying to make their own kind of thing similar to Clubhouse. So it's
Of
just,
course they are.
yeah, hopefully people don't start leaving the Clubhouse, but
Well, and
that's
if they
business.
do, bye bye. Like, honestly, that's how I feel right now. Like, let's keep it small. I'm totally fine with that. Like,
Yeah.
bye. I think that's actually what makes it really special. And the other thing, too, and then I promise you guys, this podcast is not being sponsored by Clubhouse, by the way, just so we're all clear about that. But one other thing I really liked about it is the fact that you can go into those smaller rooms and sort of gauge whether or not you want to be with a bunch of people or you want to be with a smaller group. And it sounds like you're somebody, Nicole, like you need a break every once. You're like, too many people, you
Yeah.
need a break. So those smaller rooms must be nice for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the smaller rooms because when I'm on Clubhouse, I want it to be intentional. I don't want it to just be, oh, I'm going in a room and, whatnot. So if there's no way for me to get on stage or interact with somebody, then I'm not going to go in there. Like I can learn anything I want on the internet, right? Or pay
Yeah.
somebody. So I don't typically go in those bigger rooms unless I'm like, okay, I need X today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I try to, when I'm at the gym, I try to go on the networking rooms and,
Yeah.
so I'm listening to that. And today I was in there and was actually in a podcasting room today. So that was really cool.
Awesome. Yeah, there's really great ones. And I love the
Mhm.
specificity of the rooms. I think some of my favorites are, what do you need today? It's like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's literally the title of your room. Like that's amazing.
Mhm.
So there's just a community of kindness on there, I find too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's so different than all the other social platforms too. People have just been so um bracing each other as they're coming on and welcoming and like, hey, I see you're new here. This is what you do. Like you don't get that on any other platform.
agreed. There's a level of care. It's very cool. And I mean, I think that, I don't know about you. I've sort of had an epiphany lately about how much I dislike the coaching industry. I love what I do.
Mhm.
And I have started to tell the truth about how much I hate our sales tactics, how much I hate the long form posts and then 85,000 page sales pages. And I'm done. Like, I don't want it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you and I were talking, you talk a lot about, as a business coach yourself, about really aligning your personality with your business. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you think is so important about that? Because I think it's kind of tied into this whole conversation, like how do we bring out the best of ourselves in our business instead of doing it the way everybody else does it?
Yeah. So I think, for example, like right now, everybody's like, be on Clubhouse, be on Clubhouse. But maybe that's not your personality. Maybe you don't need to be on Clubhouse. You don't need something else in the wheelhouse, but you have to find what works best for you, whether that's social media or anything else within your business. If you're not doing what works with you that you're innately good at, of course, it's going to be an uphill battle the whole way. And I talk about, trying to put a square peg in a round hole all the time. It's not going to work unless you carve the daggum peg away. So, you have to really figure out what works best for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like a couple years ago, memberships, everybody's memberships. And I was like, maybe I should do a membership. Everybody's doing membership. I literally hated it. So I did it for like 2 months. And I was like, okay, y'all are getting your money back. And I mean, there weren't a lot of people in there. Like, if it was a bigger, somebody famous, quote famous in our industry, maybe they would have a lot of people in there. But I felt like it was just very like, always like something new I had to figure out each month. Like, what are we going to talk about this month?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
So, and two, like a lot of people talk about like introvert versus extrovert. So, and I think we've started to see a lot more introverts this year with COVID flourishing because we know how to be at home. We know how to exist without having to be around a lot of people, So, that's been a really cool thing to see that. But also people just don't really know. Like I've been in Clubhouse rooms and they're like, oh, I'm an introvert, and they'll talk and I'm like, I don't really think you are. So, well, here's the thing. They don't understand it. So like, if you're listening and you're like, I don't know, I think I'm an introvert because I'm shy, or I have social anxiety, or because I'm quiet. Well, I'm an introvert and I'm socialized. I like people. There's, I can, that doesn't mean I'm an introvert or not. What being an introvert means is that you process your information internally and you get your energy regained, rebuilt from being alone. Where an extrovert is opposite of that. They get their energy from being around people, and they also process externally. So if you're talking to a friend and you're like really quiet because you're thinking, that's probably means you're an introvert. Where your friend, if they're like processing out loud, like, hey, I did this, what do you think about this, blah, 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 they're probably an extrovert.
I love that. I think it's such, and it's almost like being an introvert's become trendy too, right? I've just had it with everybody glomming on to whatever's like, oh, it's trendy to do this, it's trendy to do that. And it's not just about social media, right? Or memberships or not memberships. It's about how you're handling yourself on a daily basis and trying to fit in this Me Too, not the positive Me Too movement, but the crazy Me Too movement of like, me too. I have a membership too. I'm on Clubhouse too. Like that sort of a thing, as opposed to just, I love what you say of like, do I want to do this? Do I want to participate in this? And here I am 12 years in, and I'm going through it at a level I don't think I ever have before, where I'm like, I am not participating in this coaching industry. This is not happening. And I know you've really just started to pivot into this business, which I'm so excited for you about, by the way. Congratulations. It's so cool. But I love that you are stepping in and encouraging people to really check in with themselves first and understand their own personalities first before they try to take on the latest tactic or strategy or whatever the heck's working for everyone else. Yeah,
exactly. So bring in, my background was in higher ed. So I did that for almost a decade, and having all of those skills to work with students and figuring out how they can work best with each other, like that has helped me so much with this. And I love seeing the transformation. And I think that's what I missed most when I was doing Pinterest marketing. So I did that for the past 3 years, but I didn't get to see what my impact on people. So I was just like, oh, I'm doing stuff and I know I'm doing stuff, but I didn't see that. And so it didn't feel good for me. So that, after a while I got bored and I wasn't aligned myself with that. So
no, I totally get that. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So I didn't even know that about you. So you were in that crazy world of Pinterest. I remember when Pinterest launched and like the world lost its mind. Like they got rid of the scroll, like because of them, you can just post and post and post and post. And oh my gosh, the photographs were so beautiful. And it was, I think, just as Instagram came in. So did you help other people through Pinterest marketing? Is that what you did? Just so I understand.
And here's the funny thing too. So I'm glad you were like, I didn't know that. Well, I used Clubhouse to reinvent myself. Like I was on there the first week I was really active, and I was like talking about Pinterest for like 3 hours a day for 3 to 4 days in a row. And I was like, I'm done. I'm tired of talking about this. It's time. I'm like a freshman in college. We can reinvent ourselves. That's what Clubhouse was for me.
Nobody knows what happened in high school. It's all good,
Yeah,
right? That kind of a
exactly.
feeling. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
So you had an epiphany and a recent epiphany as well of like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. So that was like the first week of January. I was like, you know what? I'm done talking about this. We're done. I'm now a
Wow.
business coach. And I had tried to pivot last year. It didn't really happen because I don't know. It's whatever reason it didn't happen, thankfully, because then my dad got sick and passed away, and then COVID
Oh, I'm
happened.
sorry,
So
Nicole.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah. 2020 was a crap year, and I never want to repeat that year again. But we're past, life still goes on, as sucky as that sounds. But I'm glad to be past that and reinvent myself. So yeah, what I used to do was basically done for you services. So managing Pinterest accounts for various different types of clients, from bloggers to product-based businesses. So yeah.
Okay. Oh no, that's really cool. And I think, that gives a lot of rich history, I think, to what you want to offer people now, right? Like it's a really deep understanding of what works and what doesn't, and how to position things. And I think we're really, like I've been sharing, I think we're really sort of inside another huge pivot for online marketing overall. Yep. I have just watched my own response to people I've followed for years. And I'm like, get out of my inbox. I don't want to hear from you anymore. I don't want to follow you. I don't want to be in a Clubhouse room of 12,000 people. Like I have no interest in this anymore. And given that 2020 was such a hard year for so many, it was such a challenge on so many levels. And I think what it sort of had us recalibrate. And I think it took some time, and we saw it with the social movement. And I love the way that you are one of the amazing women out there using women with an X. I love seeing that. Yes, that's so awesome. We're so grateful for the generation coming up behind us kicking butt like this. It's so great. But I feel like all of these changes, all of these paradigm shifts, everything that's happening, I feel like some of the online marketers or the bro marketers or the people who've been at this for a long time, the ground is shifting under their feet, and I don't think they're paying attention. Do you feel the same way?
I agree. And I mean, I know you were talking about sales pages that are 15,000 words or, whatever. And I agree with that. Like, that's not how I operate. And I think once people start kind of seeing through, kind of like Wizard of Oz, once they pull that curtain behind and see what's behind there, you can tell, like, bro marketing is not like, I don't do that stuff. Like, if you want to work with me, great. And if you don't, that's fine too. There are plenty of other people out there. Like, we may just not be the fit. And that's just how I've always operated. And I think especially as an introvert, like it's like, take it or leave it kind of thing. But, I do think it's shifting, and it's more about people and the relationship and that one-to-one type. And that's why I think I excel, because for me, I like the smaller interactions where I can really get to know people and not just, oh, hey, I had number 5,001 by my course or whatever today. They don't know you. Like, I want to know people. Like, it's, it's not just a number or about $1 to me.
I love it. And it's not about a $15,000 photo shoot with $3,000 dresses, right? Yeah. It's kind of, we're done with that. I think there's one other specialty you have. I know that's like really building your business through community. And I think that kind of dovetails right off of what we were just saying about really understanding your people. So what does community actually mean to you? Like, what does that sound like? What does that feel like? What does that look like?
I think about this often because I'm very involved in our Tuesdays Together, which is part of the Rising Tide Society. It's a global organization that anybody can join, and it's all for entrepreneurs and small businesses. It was founded by some photographers, so it's very photography heavy, but our local chapter is lots of different people. I mean, we have candle makers, penny press things, like all kinds of different stuff. And so I think about this often because they gave me this Starbucks gift card in a Facebook group, like card thing they made. It was like an electronic card. They all signed it.
I got like a digital, almost like a digital gift card.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because COVID happened and my dad passed away. And so with that, they were like, hey, we're going to do this online event and make it like a a card that we sign, like a electronic card or whatever. So that it was interesting to see that, but they gave me the Starbucks gift card and I'm still on that gift card and I use it and I think about
That's
them.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
it's funny because I think if I had been in corporate or I didn't have this local community, like when my dad died, and even my not local community, like I had people around the US sending me cards and things, like I never expected that. Like I don't think I would have had that outpouring of support had I still been in corporate. I mean, yeah, my office would have done some things, but not to this extent. So I think that, and honestly, like isolation is so big for entrepreneurship, and it's something
Yeah.
I don't think we talk about enough, especially as women, because women find they feel successful based on their relationships. So where men, they feel successful based on their careers and their jobs. So that's where we get our self-esteem from. It's from being with others and having those friendships and whatnot. So for us, it's even more important. And, you know, yeah, it's easier as an introvert to be a little bit isolated, but I still feel that, you know, we all do, and we don't talk about it. And it's hard because people around you don't understand what you're doing. They're just now understanding what it even means to like work at home for some.
So true. Yeah. And the challenges that come with that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So community is my one big thing to like combat isolation and, you know, get out and know others. And like, I love doing coffee chats with other people because I get to know who they are. And it's not like, hey, buy my stuff. You know, it's not a sales pitch. It's just, hey, let's get to know each other as humans, and maybe we'll be friends, you know, whatever.
Love that. I love that. And then actually, I mean, what I always talk about too, and I think you understand this philosophy as well, is talking about community as a way to grow your business, that it's never in a conversation of like, hey, buy my stuff, right? It's always like, hi, I'm Nicole. This is what I do. This is what I love. This is why. And then you have no idea who that person knows and the entire window of the world that you just got access to that you wouldn't have had access to any other way. And I think that got lost. And maybe that's why I hate the bro marketing so much right now, but it's because that is so impersonal and it's made to make you feel bad, right? And less than. And if you don't do it my way, you're an idiot. That sort of energy. And I think the backlash that we're seeing is actually the kindness that we were talking about on Clubhouse, where it's actually like, hey, let's link arms and talk about this, you know, and the business comes later, and it absolutely does. It absolutely does. All right. So Nicole, this has been so much fun to talk to you. And I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. And I know you have something awesome that you would love to share with our audience. And I'd love to give you an opportunity to talk about that.
Awesome. So I am developing right now, and it's going to be available as this episode goes live. So I'm challenging myself right here. I am developing a quiz for everyone to figure out if you're in alignment with your business. So are you working against the grain, or are you actually doing things that make sense and are with your innate strengths and personality? So I'm going to have that out when this podcast comes out, and you can find that at my website. It'll be Saunders Says, and that's SAUNDERSSAYS. So 2 S's in there.
Love it.
Yeah, /biz quiz. So BIZQUIZ.
I think it is really important what you're doing, Nicole. I'd like to say I'm so grateful to know there are other business coaches out there in the world who are really helping other people pull on their innate talents and personality to support their business, as opposed to trying to jam themselves into some crazy paradigm that everyone else says is correct. So I want to personally thank you for being on the show today. And also thank you for having the courage to take this pivot. I mean, I know it can be really scary, and it takes a lot of courage to pivot like this. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for being here today. It was such a joy.
Of course. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm excited to be in this industry. I definitely think it's the best fit for me. So I'm excited to, you know, maybe make some small changes, and we can help pivot the culture of this industry too. So.
Oh, I'm in. I'm totally in.
Let's go.
Thanks, Nicole.